Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'm starting my webinar in a couple of minutes. Just tell the time we've organized the plumber and they're currently in upstairs, but they'll probably ask for me, so. Okay, no worries. All right, thanks.
Hello, everyone. It's Michael, and it's my privilege and opportunity to present Smart Suite training for new users, particularly for admin, and also to give you some tips and tricks on how you could get the best out of your system. Okay, so the first thing is some fundamentals that you should be aware of. So, our website is functionalsolutions.com.au. You can bring that up on anything. And where we want to direct you to is support. You may not be aware of some of the things that we do in support. So I thought that would be a good place to start, because if you're using a new product and you come across a hiccup, well, where would you go? So I'll show you where you can go in a minute, but you normally think of support in how do I contact them to get assistance on type of questions, but you may not realize what we do. So if you scroll up here, okay, you'll see our customer service manager, and he's got a little message for you. And this is the support that he's works on. So you can support us on a 1-800 number. Okay, you can contact us. You can contact us on a 1-800. You can contact us via email. You can also contact us via a ticket. So you can put in a ticket, which is probably the fastest way. So click on there and it'll give you information about these various different areas. Okay. What else do we do? Well, we do YouTube. Okay. We do amazing stuff in YouTube. So if you go to YouTube, okay, and in the YouTube search bar, if you type in Smart Suite Library, guess what? You will probably find dozens and dozens and dozens and dozens of videos on different aspects and different modules and different types of training and so forth and so on in the year. Okay, so it's a really good place if you just want to go and browse on your own. So that's what we do in the YouTube area. Help articles. Okay, go to our fresh help article by just clicking on here. You could have gone to the YouTube channel here too. Concierge. Concierge is a fantastic opportunity. So if you're in Smart Suite and you're logged in, you will get this little thing here, this little button. When you click on it, it's our concierge. And guess what? It's not machine. So you put in a question and a machine answers you. Now, it doesn't work like that. We actually monitor people that are communicating with us, and we actually talk to you based on what your questions are that you have raised up there. Okay. So the concierge is for new users. What else do we do? Well, uh, we do on this one-on-one training. So if you're really struggling, why don't you just ask us, okay? And we'll tell you and schedule a date for you to do that, okay? We have AI training. That's something that's going to blow you away. Go in here and find out. I'm not telling you anything about it. Newsletters keeps you up to date with what else is happening. But above all else, join the FSI community. I can assure you, none of our competitors do half as much as what we do in that particular area. Okay. Okay. So we're now going to start with how do I contact Functional Solution? First of all, you need to be signed in. Once you're in, you can hit the concierge button. Okay. If you haven't got concierge on your system, but you'd like concierge, well, put in a ticket and say, can you switch on concierge for me for a few months? Or we can do that. There's no extra cost. One of the things we do is there's no extra cost for anything we do. Okay. How else can I contact you? Click on the menu, go down to mailbox, click on the mailbox. Okay. And when the mailbox grows, create a ticket, put in the subject. Can someone walk me through how to change my borrowing parameters? And the message will be, I'm available on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays between 3 and 4 o'clock, or between 9 and 2 o'clock, or whatever. And this is my number. So tell us as much information as you can. Hit that paper plane and we'll get it. Okay, so that's one way. The other way is just go down to support. And in support, scroll up, okay, because it could be hidden. So scroll up You got training videos, searching help articles, contacting support, joining the community. How about a quick start guide? The quick start guide, if you're really new, is an amazing document. And this document, you can print it out, you can read it. Uh, I try and say to people, don't print anything out because uh, we do about 3 to 4 upgrades a year, and all our upgrades are free. Okay. So, what you might want to do is you might want to just look at the help articles, okay, or the quick start guide or whatever, and you can print it out. But if you don't print out, see, this is a very, very long article. It's 56 computer pages, okay. So, what you can do is you can go ahead and you can look at the quick start guide. And what the quick start guide will do is it will allow you to print it, but it will if any article changes, what we will do is we will actually change the quick start guide so it's online in real time all the time. Okay, so make sure that you don't print it if you want to be up to date. Just go back to support and just refer to it through here, through the quick start guide, or go to the help articles, refer to it through the help articles. Okay, now there it is. And you can see it covers just about everything a new user would want to do. And there's even videos on there in it. Okay, so all right, so you're new to the system, and what are the fundamental things I need to know? Well, the fundamental things you need to know is how to add a patron, change a patron, delete a patron. Once you learn to do that, it is really easy. Add a catalog record, change a catalog record, delete a catalog record. Once you learn to do that, circulation. Well, we'll touch on circulation for just a few seconds because it is easy and simple and it's follow your nose. What you have to remember when you're using SmartSuite, you cannot break it, you cannot damage it, you cannot do anything to the system that's going to cause it to become unreliable. Okay. In the worst case, you might delete one record. No big deal, just go and recreate it again. So let's deal with the um, patrons. How do I add a patron or find a patron or change a patron or check a patron? It's easy. Click on menu. And if you're an administrator, there's all your functions. You go down to patron management. So you go patron and then patron management. It will always bring up your record. So if you're logged in as Joanna, it'll come up as Joanna. If you're logged in as Michael, it'll come up as Michael. And everyone should have their own login. So you say, yes, but there's 5 librarians or 5 staff in the library. Do they all have to have their own login? Absolutely yes. Because if you've got more than one person logging in with the same username, the system on in the cloud will not realize that, oh, 3 people have come in with the same username. What it will do is it'll say, there's 3 people logging in with the same username. That shouldn't happen. Might be being hacked. So it'll kick you out. Okay. So that's why everyone logs in the same username. Now, if you want to find someone, once you go in here, you can have a look at all these people's detail by looking at the basic features, advanced, and so forth and so on. Okay. 90% of people don't go past the first screen. And if you're adding a patron, you never go past the first screen. It's not necessary. Okay. However, you can look at all of that information and fill in whatever you want. If you want to find someone, easy. Just click on find and type in SMITH and it'll bring up all the Smiths. Or just go SM and it'll bring up all the SMs. And then what happens is you click on the person and it'll bring their record up. Okay. Now, if you want to add a new person, easy. Click on new and you give him a barcode. If you don't have a number for him at the moment because you've got to go and get the stickers or whatever, why not just put anything in there? And you can come back and change it. Okay, so let's put in his first name, John, and surname, John Stewart's email address, at. Okay, and then the year level he's in, year 11, and the class grade that he's in is in 11BC, and he's a student, and that's it. So if I go save, because you haven't given a password, I'll give him a random password. But if you want to give him a password, go change password and then put in his password. And the password is FT. Just give him a password and then just go change password. Okay, now that's it. This student is now ready to borrow. His borrowing parameters are against his class grade. So if he's a year 11, whatever year 11 borrowing parameters, he'll get it. But I have now come along and I've got a barcode for him later. So I could have done find and brought up his record. And if I've got a barcode for him, give him the barcode. Okay, and now I'll go save. That's it. But you go, what about his username? What's that? Well, when he logs into the system, he'll have to use that barcode and his username and his password. Okay, so that he used the barcode and his password. But you can go, but he's a primary kid. They're never going to remember that. Okay, so why don't you make it his first name? John full stop Stewart. So you can do that. And now he can log into the system using either that barcode or using that username, and make it a policy that their username is always the same. So if you decide everyone's username is their first name, full stop surname, that's fine. If you just say their username is their first name, John, then what happens when you've got two Johns or three Johns, or if it's Smith is a surname and you say the username is surname, and it's you've got five Smiths. So that's why John.Smith. And if you have two John.Smiths, which is highly unlikely, you might want to put a 1 in there. Okay, and that's it. So that's your John Stewart's 1 and your John Stewart's 2. Okay, now so they can log in using that, they can log in using that, and they can log in using their email address. So there are 3 ways to log in. But this is not a student, this is a teacher. So what you do is you go in here and you put him in as a staff member. So now he'll get the borrowing limits of staff, and you can say his homeroom is a staff. Okay, but he's not a student. So what you do is you go in there and you go, he works on the circulation desk, or he catalogs and he works on the circulation desk. Okay, but he's not a student. So now they'll have cataloging rights and circulation rights. And when they click on the menu, they won't get all these options. They'll only get the options for cataloging and circulation. And that's it. Now, if you gave them all a password, but you wanted them to change their password on the first login, just say change the password on the first login. Yes, and now save. So what's going to happen? You can say, John, I've created your record. You can log in this way. Your password's password, because that's the generic password you give everyone. But it's going to ask you to change your password. So give yourself whatever password you want. And that's it. If you got a photograph and you want to upload this photograph, just go upload and then go to where your photographs are on your system. Okay. And then click on the photograph, go open, and this photograph will get transferred from your network or from your PC or your iPad or whatever to here. Okay. And that's all there is to creating a patron. If you want to delete someone, go and do a find, call up the patron, and then just go delete. It says, are you sure? And I go, yeah, I'm absolutely sure. And that gets rid of him. Okay. So that's how easy and simple it is to be able to just change anything on the system. Okay. Now that you know how to do that, but I've got 500 patrons. Do you mean to say I have to put them in like that? No, you don't. Just go to menu. You can go to patron, but this time you don't go to patron management. You go to smart patron import. Smart patron import, and you can go and get a help article on how to do that. You can watch a tutorial on how to do that. Okay, and you can just upload a patron file, and it's really good. You might turn and say, oh, but I'd like someone to walk me through the first run. Fantastic. So create a ticket and say, can someone walk me through my first patron import? Yeah, we can do that too. Not a problem. So that's how you bulk import. Bulk importing 1,000 patrons will probably take you 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, well, if it takes you 2 minutes, why don't you just bulk import them every week? Okay. Why would I do that? Well, if you're importing your patron data from the admin system and you're importing their parents' name and addresses and you're importing their email address of the parents, what we can do is when we come to the reports module, we can set up overdue notices like first, if it's under 60 days, under 30 days, we send the overdue notice to the child. If it's over 30 but under 60 days, we'll send the overdue notice to the child and a letter to the parent. If it's more than 90 days overdue, we'll send a pro forma invoice that we're going to charge them if they don't bring the books back to the parents. So we can do all those sorts of things. Really simple, very easy. When you come to do that, talk to us individually and we'll walk you through how to set that up. Okay, but that's why you do a patron import maybe once a week or once a month. Okay, and that way your patron email addresses and your parents' email addresses are always up to date as per the front office. So my recommendation is never ever add a patron when you can import the data from the front office. You might just turn around and say to the front office, give me a list of all the new patrons. I really wouldn't bother. I'd say, give me a list of all the patrons. And if the patron already exists, but they've got new details, it'll change it. If the patron doesn't exist, it'll add it. If the patron exists and no changes have been made, nothing will happen. So that's how you would do that. Okay. Next thing we're going to go and do is how do I catalog? Really, really simple. But you say, oh no, hang on a second. Borrowing parameters. How do I set the borrowing parameters? Well, remember I told you that the borrowing parameter of every patron is set in their class grade. So whatever their class grade is, so in this case, staff, they'll have certain borrowing parameters. If their class grade is a year 10, they'll have different borrowing parameters and so forth and so on. Okay, now where do you set borrowing parameters? That's easy. All you do is you click on menu, you come down to settings, support, uh, configuration. You go to configuration. Now, what if you went to settings? Well, you can see there's nothing there. Yeah, you go to support. Oh, there's nothing there either. So you can go to configuration. Okay. And it's authority file. So any parameters on the system at all is all done in the authority file. That's the list. Anywhere that you have a list to choose from, it's an authority file. So you click on there. And remember, we were looking at the class grade of staff. So we'll say class grade. So let's have a look and we'll go down here and we'll go class grade. There. And remember, we had a year 10. So we'll click on the pencil and these are all the borrowing limits. So the final borrowing date is that. That's when the books come back in the library. The expiry date is that. Oh, that's 2090. Yeah. I always say to people, look, we don't use the expiry date for anything other than for like year 12s. If they are not coming back after the 15th of July, you might want to expire them so they don't borrow. But for the others, really irrelevant. So figure out when you're going to leave, add 40 years to that, and make that your expiry date so you never have to bother with it again. Okay. How many books can they borrow? How long can they borrow from? How many times will you allow them to renew it on the web? Because you can allow them to renew it. And how many days will you renew it for? And how many items can they reserve? Can they have multiple copies of the same book? And if I made that, so let's say my loan period is 100 days, then I'll have to say the patron's limit overrides the book limit because by default, a book can only borrow for 14 days. But this patron can borrow for 100 days. And yes, they can override whatever the book limit is. Okay, so that's all there is. And don't forget to save. Now let's go down to staff because we had a staff in here. Okay, so staff. So we have a little staff parameters. They can borrow 200 books for 365 days. They can renew 200 times. Their renewal period 365 days. They can reserve 1,000 books. They can have multiple copies. And if they come across an overnight loan or a fortnightly loan or a weekly loan, it'll say, no, give it to them for 365 days because I put that button there. Okay. And that's how that works. So that's really easy. Okay. But please remember, if you're changing anything, you have to hit that save button, because if you change all these parameters and you don't hit save, nothing's going to happen. It's not going to accept any of those changes. Okay. All right. How do I catalog? Simple. Just go to catalog, and I've shown you how to add a patron, change a patron, delete a patron. When you go into cataloging, it'll come up to the first record in the collection or the last record you worked on. And then all you do is, there it is. You can go and find a book, add a new book. Okay, you can save a book, but that's it there. And you just enter the information that you want, where you want to enter it. Okay, so if you just want to put in the title and that's about it, well, you can. It won't be much very discoverable because it's got no subjects, no notes or whatever. But you can go and you can put anything you like in any of the appropriate tabs. Okay, just remember you have to hit save when you finish. But where do I put the barcode of the book? You go to copies. And in here, you go to a blank one, but normally it'll be blank if it's a new book. You go to the blank one and you put in the barcode. Okay, you'll put in the call number. You put in the status that it's available, or it's on loan, or it's on order, or whatever, the location, the sublocation, the loan period, the renewal period, and then you just go save. And that's all there is to it. You can say, yeah, but that's not a book. This is a laptop. Oh, okay. So you expand that once you've created it. And then you can go and put in the supplier of the book. You can put in the cost. You can put in the replacement or the supplier of the laptop. You can put that in there. If it's an asset, why not click on the assets? You've got a full asset register there. You can fill out whatever you want to put in your asset register. If it's been repaired by a maintenance guy, why don't you go onto the maintenance register and fill that out and put it in there? If it is a kit that you're going to build. So the kit is called Mrs. Jones's Volcano Series for Term 4. So you create a catalog record, call it Mrs. Jones's Volcano Series for Term 4, or you can go ahead and label that as a box. Then in here, you can zap in all the barcodes of the books that go into that box. Okay, so it's a kit manager as well. Okay, so very powerful, but very simple, and you can't stuff it out. Okay, but if you turn around and say, well, what about SKIS cataloging? Let me just go and copy this for a minute. I'm just going to copy that ISBN number, and I'll just go to the very first collection in the series. Okay, so I am now gone into catalog, and I want to catalog a book. So I can do new, and I can fill in all the blanks. Okay, or I can just go to the ISBN number field and zap in the ISBN number with my barcode. What barcode readers do we support? We don't care if the Windows machine or if the laptop or the iPad or whatever plugs into your iPad or laptop, and when you zap in an ISBN number in Word and the number gets accepted, we'll accept that barcode reader. Okay, so you don't have to use a particular branded one. So what you do is you put in your ISBN number, then hit that button, and guess what? If it exists on SKIS, it'll tell you it exists on SKIS, and it's imported. So you just go OK, and there it is. And that's all there is to it. So all you need to do is go into the copies area and then add the barcode to the book there, and then go back, just double check all the information about the book. Okay. And then just go ahead and hit save. And that's all there is to SKIS cataloging a book. And then what happens? You just go new. Okay, I haven't saved that, but you just go new. Okay, let me just save this. Media cannot be blank. So if there's any fields that are not filled in that it must have, okay, media cannot be blank. So let's go in here and say that's a book, and then just go save. All right, you got a new one to catalog, just go new, zap in the ISBN number, click that button, put the barcode save. Okay, it'll tell you media is not blank, media is blank, so fix that up, and go save, then go new, and you just go round and round and round in circles. But if you got 100 books, it's a long-winded way to go. So what you do is you click on the menu button and you click on catalog, and this is the SKIS cataloging or global cataloging. So this way you do bulk books. Okay, click on that, and this will give you a slightly different screen. And the way this works is it's presumed that certain parameters are set. But before we do that, let's go and assume that all those parameters are set and show you how it works. So you come down here, and whatever the barcode is, you can say, yes, it is a book. Yes, it's going to the storeroom, or no, it's not going to the storeroom. It's actually going into the B3 classroom. So you change your parameters here for the loan type, renewal type, supplier information, price, or whatever. And then you just go and you zap in the barcode of the book. Okay. And then you'll put in the the ISBN number of the book, then you put in the barcode. Okay, then you put in the ISBN number of the next book. Okay, as long as those parameters are the same, and you'll put in the next barcode. Okay, then you put in the ISBN number of the next book, and you put in the next barcode. Then you put in, and so forth and so on. Okay, just make sure that all these parameters down here are going to be the same as the um, holding records for that particular book. Okay, so if you make sure that that's all correct, then you just go ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, ISBN barcode, and it's catalog. And that's how you do 100 books or 200 books or whatever. Very fast, very simple. And as long as all your parameters are set correct, when you finish, you just click print. And guess what? All your spine labels will print out for you. You can go, yeah, but does that mean I have to use a new sheet of spine labels every time because it's always printing up there? No, if you've already used that, you can go leave for uh, spine labels and start clicking on the fifth one, and there it is. Or leave 17 blanks because that's how many were used. And just go generate again, and it'll move it down. Okay. And that's all there is to clicking spine labels from the catalog. You can go to the reports module and do it the long-winded way by entering all the barcodes of the books and then go print spine labels. That's a long-winded way. Now, we talked about assuming all the parameters are set. So what parameters are there? Basically only two parameters. So you come here to the configuration, don't click on that. You go to the up arrow. Okay, this is a totally different configuration button, which we'll deal with later. But we'll go to the up arrow and we go Z3950 databases. So you click on Z3950 databases, you find SKIS, you'll put in your SKIS username and you'll put in your SKIS password. And if it's a new entry, there'll be a save button. If it's an existing entry, it'll go update. So regardless of which one it is, just click update or save, and that's it. So that's now you're ready to SKIS catalog. If you want to do spine labels, like I told you, click on the up arrow, go default spine labels, and click on that list and have a look. Choose one of those labels because they just all work. Okay. Okay. You say, oh, but my spine label is not here. Well, you can go and experiment in the reports module and create your own label. Good luck. There's a lot of effort and time in setting that up and checking it. But if you just say, well, look, spine label is going to cost me $50 for a bunch, I'll just go and buy a brand new one. My recommendation, Raycode 12603, you choose that one. Make sure you hit the save button. And what that means is from now on, if you're using Raycode 12603 or any of these other ones, your spine labels are always going to work 100% of the time perfectly without any alignment issues or any other problems with your spine label. Great way to work. Okay. All right. So the second last thing we're going to do is I want to circulate menu and just go down to circulation. And that is really easy. That's your circulation screen. It's always in check in, check out. Okay, so we're in check out. So you just go, I want to check out SM is the surname and Smythe. Okay, and then you just zap in the barcode of the book, and that's it. And if you want a different patron, just enter the next patron's name. Can you zap in their barcode? Of course you can. You can do that. Can I print a sheet of barcodes for all my patrons and put it in the folder? Of course you can. I'm going to show you that in a minute. Okay. You want to check a book out, return a book, just click on return and just put in the barcode of the book. And if there's any reasons why the this barcode or should be addressed, it'll tell you and just go okay, and that's it. And it just checks the book in. That's all there is to it. Okay. Now let's go back into loans. Okay. Okay. So let's go and call up the same person. Okay. And uh, if they had a book out, you can click on the book. If they've told you they've lost it, and clicked on lost. If they claim they return it and they've come up with a bunch of books, you can click on the book. So Smith, let me just try and see if I've got someone here. Smith and John Smith. Yep, he's got an overdue. Say, John, you can't borrow because you've got an overdue. He says, oh, I returned it. So you put a tick in there and then you click claim return. When you do that, they'll pop a message up, say, what do you want to put against this? You go, John said he returned the book, but I don't think he did, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. So you can put that in there, and that message will be tied to that book, and it'll be tied to John Smith. So every time the book comes up or John Smith comes up, you're going to get that message so you can address it. Okay. If you say, no, John, I'm not going to accept that, I'm going to send you an overdue letter or a loan letter. So you can click on current loans. Okay. Click that button, and then it will just do the overdue for you for that individual patron. Okay. And then you can go print or export, or you can even go email and just email it to John's parents or email it to John. Okay. That's all there is to it. You can do all of that through the circulation screen. Okay. If you had a picture, it'll come up there. If you want to go to John's record, click on that. It'll take you to patron record. If you want to go to the book, click on that. It'll take you to the catalog record for that book. So you can do almost everything from the circulation screen. Okay. Now, if there are certain things that a system is doing and certain errors that's coming up, and you think, oh, I'm just annoyed with these errors, or I wanted to do circulation a different way, that's the settings button. Click on that, and you'll be amazed. Play around with it. You'll be amazed at what you can do in the circulation screen. But if you change anything, don't forget to hit the save button. So that's changed. And now your circulation will operate totally differently. Really simple, fantastic. Okay, how do I do a loans report or an overdue report or any kind of report, or a report of all patrons with their barcodes? So I can put them in plastic sheets so that other people can borrow. Easy. You go to the menu button up here, okay, and menu, then you go to reports and reports. Now, these reports are the same for no matter what report you're writing. So if you go to catalog reports, these are all the reports in the catalog. If you go to current loans reports, okay, but I'm going to go to the patron reports, and patrons, patron cards by homeroom with images, okay, but in other words, with their photographs. So if you want that, you just, or just plain cards, okay. So we'll just go to plain cards, homerooms, okay, and then you just entered all the different homerooms you wanted. Or if you don't put them in, if you just go generate, it'll do a patron report for every patron in your system. Okay. And then you can print it out. Now, I don't know what homerooms I have, so it's going to print the report for everyone. Now, when you print a report, and if you say, no, I don't want to print the report, I would like to really export it as a PDF, or I want to export it as an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, you can do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into the system, okay, because I exited out of that. And I exited out because I didn't choose a specific homeroom. It actually gave me every homeroom, and that would have given me about 300 pages, okay, which I don't want. So I'll come back here, I'll go back into reports, okay, and I will go to patron reports, patron by classification cards, okay, double click that, and in here I can do, I want the 6As, the 7As, and the 8Es. So those are the home groups that I wanted, and there they are. Okay. If I said with images, then the photograph will appear up here. Okay. And they just print on big labels, so you can just cut the label out and stick it, or you can just print that card out. Or you can say, no, I don't want that kind of a report. That's fine. So I want them all on a list. So If you want them on a list, just go back to patron and patrons by homeroom. Okay. And I could have done it by classification. And the homeroom that I want is 9D, 9G, 10E, and just go generate. Okay, and these are the papers that you put into manila sheets, and they will now print on there. And if the paper is too long, it'll automatically format it for A4 sheets onto the system. Okay, so one of the other things that you can do is you can say, I want to do overdue letters. So instead of going to the patrons to do overdue, you go to the overdues, and overdues by classification or homeroom. You can do overdues or any reports, whatever way you want. So if you don't put in the classification here and you just go generate, so all the reports are exactly the same. Okay, and it will then produce them for you like that. Okay. So what kind of reports can I run? Well, why not go into the reports module and run whatever you want? You will never, ever waste paper because they all go to the printer, and you can then send it to an Excel spreadsheet or PDF, or you can actually print them by just hitting the print button at the bottom. And that's all there is to running the system from an administrator point of view. So if you have any kind of requests for support, and it doesn't matter what it is, if you're hesitant to run one of these functions, or you want to know about stock take, or you want to do anything, just put in a ticket and ask. That's what we're there for, to help you to make sure that it's a smooth learning curve. And don't forget to join our user groups, join the FSI community, find out what other people are saying and doing. And whenever we publish an upgrade, you don't have to take it. I'd recommend strongly that you take it, because it will give you so much more new features and new functionality, and everything we do will not cost you 1 cent when you're on support. Unlike the others, the upgrades they'll charge you for, or they'll charge you for a new report, because you might have a request from the admin that they want a report of your stock based on certain items that were bought from this supplier or whatever. And if you can't find that kind of report, tell us and we'll write it for you. Or better than that, why don't you say, I have a particular reporting requirement. This is what it is. I don't want you to write it. Can you walk me through and show me, because I want to learn how to write my own reports? We'll do that too. Okay. So thank you very much for joining us in this informative session. It's been my pleasure. It will be on our YouTube channel now, and it'll be live, so you'll be able to watch it again as often as you want.